Okay, let me share my screen. Say hello to my dad. And let me share my screen. Stop. Share. Okay, here we have it. Here's the agreement. Okay, it's a little bit long. I'll take out the commentaries. Okay, I'm gonna clean it up. The key thing that you need to look at. Okay, and now we'll record another video, which would be kind of what the employees would see. Okay, I would prepare a video telling early employee or founding team member saying, "Hey, this is what you're gonna see." Okay, then the key factors here, and this is the key, okay, because agreements can have a bunch of details, but I think the key option here, or the key thing that we're trying to accomplish, is clarity in terms of what we are. They're very open, telling employees, look, this is what you're getting. Okay. Um, I'll explain in that video also the market rate. I'm just going to be displaying a little bit here. Basically, is look, equity grant, okay, 10x. Okay, the idea is to drive 10x over salary. I'll explain because this is a little bit more complex, but that's going to be explained to the employee. Okay, meaning normally you just get compensated for the salary you would lose. In this case, okay, versus versus um salary compensation. Okay. This is very important. Okay. And then we'll talk about the numbers afterwards. Okay. These are all going to be examples. Okay. Because we do need to keep it. We will need to put a clause saying, hey, this will need to be flexible. We will be very open about everything, but it will need to be flexible because sometimes the conditions might change or things that the cost structure might not be, for example, you might be using many more infrastructure costs, product infrastructure being paying the cloud computing. There could be a bunch of variables that actually change the metrics, so it makes sense. Okay. Then here the key factor is whatever condition it is, okay, we're matching the market, we're above market. Okay, this is the key, saying, hey, we're giving you equity above market. And we're giving you an exercise window for good labor. So for example, this is I had put 90 days initially, okay, just as an example of the harshest thing that is out there in the market, but in reality, that's super harsh. Okay, generally, I would say in Asia, it's more 1 2 years. Okay, you have 1 2 years to buy your shares. But this is seen more and more, and it's an Asian standard. But in the US, it's really, I talked to a friend who has a company and employed a bunch of American people, and and absolutely unacceptable. You know what I mean? That you're forcing employees to actually buy, and now especially let's say the latest ones are offering 7 to 10 years. So it's like, okay, I think we can claim being above market. I think it's very important to say, hey, this we're going to be very open. You can check. You have to do your own due diligence, but this is the conditions that the market have. Okay. And you can look at all this. Okay, I can explain a little bit more detail. I think the important ones are the cliff period, and this is condition that is matching the market generally. Okay. Then afterwards, there's all this like kind of the um things that are related to the market. This one is important is if someone, for example, the company is acquired that the employee is still vesting shares. That if for whatever reason a bunch of employees, you could be the case, it could be the case for yourself. Okay, and funding round, we're starting to invest again, then we get acquired, and for whatever reason they decide, hey, you're out. Okay, they could say, hey, we want a new CEO, we want a new CRO, we want. The key factor here is that then we would vest 50% of our shares, okay, that have not been vested. So that way, okay, if someone comes in and fires you, okay, but you're still gonna get 50%. This is all matching market, okay. These ones are above market or better or on the higher end, okay. Um, and then company or phone, all this are emerging market. Then these ones are a little bit below market. Okay, the 12-month post termination. Okay, what I did is to kind of make a build up. Okay, meaning it has to be you have to be working 2 years in the company, so you're forced to not do anything that work in a competing company. Um, the clause compete. Okay, 6 months, you have a non-compete of 6 months. Doesn't matter. No one. The key thing is this already blocks people from working with the competition because no one can wait, especially the younger ones. Okay, and the key link is that we'll always have the investing of the shares. Okay, is a key requirement, and is qualifying as a bad lever would forfeit the shares they had. Okay, and then what else is here? Okay. The non-solicitation, the same kind of conditions. Then I did put in severance without cost. Okay, firing someone without cost to give them 1 month. This is still below market rate, but I think that it makes kind of sense. Okay, we can go over it. Okay, but just take a read. Okay, the only thing that we could do harsher is add a bad lever, that if you go to a direct competitor, you're actually a bad lever, and we might be, you know what I mean, and that one is not included in the clauses. I can add on. Okay, then the key factor that this would go is that this would actually link here to the salary. This is just an example, but say, hey, it's founder five. This is a number. Obviously, this is related to K, but this matter. We'll change it. Okay, and then how we change. By the way, I'll change it. I put 0.5, 1, and 3, and it will have to be 1, 3, and 5. Okay, I'll change it later. Okay, and then the variations of salary. Okay, this will be an example. This will have to be dynamic. Okay, it just can't. We can't just leave it like, hey, that's in your contract. This will never change. Okay, and there has to be, because for example, if you had a bunch of founding members, I think the key that we will need to decide is how many founding members, because then it's easier to calculate it. If I know how many founding members we're going to have, or early employees, I think the key is that we would probably have to have. Okay, I'll put it here. Let me just bring this down. Okay, I would say we need to have, early employees only like this. Okay. Then the calculation can be done. Okay, what is the impact to the P&L? If you think about it, for example, 1 million ARR is like $80,000 a month. Okay. This can sum up a little bit. You know what I mean? This is, while we're a software company, you know what I mean? You just need to consider this. Okay. More or less, the salaries of all these people will eat up all the money. Obviously, you know what I mean? We need to evolve. We were not going to hire all these people. We're probably going to get only 2 founding team members and probably 3 early employees. Okay, but we just need to consider this. If we start giving out that to everybody, and we are committing to a big kind of factor. Okay, and then we will link this to company valuation. Okay, for example, to do a 500,000 ARR, you need 450 paying customers, full month paying, and we're talking about only SaaS customers. This is very important. Okay. For 1 million, this is you need 900 fully paying, every dollar, no discount. Okay, just as a reference. Okay, every discounted customer means another customer. 3 million. Okay, and then kind of what this would mean in terms of valuation for the employees. Okay, so obviously the key thing I think will be to record the video. Every employee will have that content. We will be able to explain this documentation. Okay, and we will link it to the contract. It is a little bit complex, but this is a discussion that you have to have with every. The reality is, if not, people get pissed, don't know exactly what they're getting into. I think this can be a great tool to convince people. Okay, I'll stop sharing and I'll send you the video on YouTube, because that way is the easiest one. I'll send it to you on Slack and on WhatsApp, just because the connection is a little bit fuzzy, and while I was sleeping, Slack is not working very well. And we'll talk after the meeting.